Hello, everyone. Let me read this fair use disclaimer to you. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright status that might otherwise be infringing. The copyright laws of the United States recognizes a fair use of copyrighted content. Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act states, notwithstanding the provisions of Section 106 and 106A, the fair use of a copyrighted work, including such use by reproduction and copies of phonorecords or by other means specified by that section for purposes such as criticism, comment, views, news, reporting, teaching, scholarships, or research, is not an infringement of copyright. Now let's get into this intro.
Welcome to the Juice Radio Talk Show. 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 Reality TV, church reviews. Let's talk happy love and marriage lifestyle. Come and talk with us. Come and share with us. Come and laugh with us. Come on and pray with us.
Regina Clovis, special guest. You should be following your lead. Bless. Subscribe on YouTube. Listen on podcasts. We live on IG and Facebook. This episode is sponsored by Truth and Triumph Ministries.
All right, everybody, y'all come on in the room. Have I got a story to tell y'all? Oh my gosh. Listen, these pastors in Africa, not all of them, just the ones I'm about to name, are not playing with y'all over there. Let me tell y'all. Now, this story is coming out of South Africa. The pastor's name is Solomon Mhlanga, Mhlanga. He has been arrested, you guys, sentenced. They have already gone through the trial and everything. The event that I'm going to tell you about happened last year, according to news articles, where this man, whose name is Dumisani, Dumisani, his hands were severed, both hands severed by this pastor, whose name is Solomon. And now, you guys, the South African courts have sentenced this pastor to life in prison. My God, today, y'all, my God, today. But I do want to tell y'all, this is not the first story that I have spoken on my channel about a pastor and these machetes, because they're using machetes over there in South Africa. These two stories they were. Now, this story is also on my YouTube channel, which y'all can take a look at. This one is speaks about a pastor who threatens to attack people at a school. And y'all see he had a machete in his hand as well. He went to the children's school over there with a machete and was threatening to cut up folks over there. This was a whole pastor, a huge following. Oh my goodness, y'all. These pastors, woo, my goodness. All right. And again, let me just make myself clear. When I say these pastors, I am not referring to all pastors. I am referring to the pastors who I am referencing in these videos. So I don't want people to think that I'm putting a blanket statement on all pastors. All right, let me just make that statement so that you all are aware. When I'm referencing these pastors or pastor, I am referring to the pastor that I am speaking to in regards in these videos. Hey to all of y'all in the chat. Thank y'all for coming on in. Appreciate y'all for being here. What up, Angel? Thank you so very much for coming on in. Hey, Stephanie. This is going to be a good one. Hey, Robert. Yeah, this is a lot, Robert. This is a lot. I mean, I tell you. Tell them the verses, Robert. Tell them the verses that they need to know. Hey, Kanique, because this stuff right here that's going on, terrible. Now, there's a lot to this story, you guys. There's a lot. Hey, Mary Jackson. Thank you for coming on back in. There's a lot to this story. Let me go ahead and bring this up on my platform here. I do want to take the time to thank all of my subscribers. Y'all have helped me reach a milestone, you guys. I have great numbers over here on YouTube. I think it's about 36, 37 subscribers right now. Our numbers are climbing. I am on a goal, you guys. Y'all see it right there, to reach over 50,000 subscribers. So if y'all click like, share, and subscribe, that will help me to get closer to that goal of 50,000 subscribers. But shout out and thank you to all of my subscribers who have helped me to come thus far. Thank y'all so very much. We're about to get into this story, you guys. The pastor and his son, and you guys, his daughter-in-law, the son's wife, have been arrested and they have been sentenced, you guys. Sentenced in this heinous crime. Now, as you see here on the left, the photo, that is Dumisani. He is the young man whose hands were chopped off, amputated by the hands of this pastor, Pastor Solomon. Now, let me get into this story and then we will get into some more details. I want to hear what y'all have to say about this as well. I'm going to bring this story up. Shout out to, what's this news source up here? This is, let's see, Masani News. Shout out to them. Let me bring this on the platform here. Now, here's what they had. They said, man's hand severed by pastor over theft allegations. And y'all see here, this is by Lisa Lee, and this was, says it was written January 11th, 2025, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it's, January 11th, 2025. Now, this incident happened where his hands were severed last year, 2024. Okay, 2024, this incident happened. Okay, all right. So it says here, a shocking incident in Kawagupa, Imalanin, if I'm saying that right, in a horrifying incident in Guaygopa, 29-year-old Dumisani had both his hands severed from a panga. Now, a panga is a machete. That's what they use the word panga in South Africa, but it means machete, okay? After being accused of stealing from a church. The shocking act was allegedly carried out by a local pastor and his son, who have since been arrested and charged with attempted and kidnapping. Because you guys, let me tell you all this. Let me pause. They not only kidnapped him off the church grounds, drove him to a remote area. That's where they severed his hands, but they kidnapped him, put him in this van, according to these stories. It also says here, this case, which has left the community in disbelief, has been widely reported, including by Siwantan Lime. Mahlangu, who was discharged from the hospital last week, and this is back in January of 2025, admitted to having a history of theft. So let me pause right there. So they're stating that this guy right here admitted to officials that he does have a history of theft. That he does. And also I found another story that stated that the church where Pastor Solomon preaches at they were helping this young man. So he was, according to some of the articles that I read, they're stating that he was a member of the church where Pastor Solomon preached, and that Pastor Solomon was trying to help this young man with some difficulties that he was having. So let me get back to the story. So then it says he admitted to having a history of theft, but denied the specific allegations that led to the brutal attack. And it says that he says, I begged him to at least leave me with one hand, Mhlanga recounted, but he said, my friends must see what happens to people who steal from him. What? Then it says here, the incident unfolds on March 20th, which was, I believe, last year. Mahlangu was allegedly ambushed while passing through the yard of the Kiwagupa church. According to him, a group of armed men accused him of stealing, assaulted him, and then called the pastor. I was on my way to a friend's house at around 7 a.m. and took a shortcut through the church yard. Suddenly, 4 men approached me, accusing me of theft. As I tried to flee, I heard gunshots and was forced to stop, Mahlangu said. He claimed the pastor's son called his father, informing him that Mahlangu had been caught. Shortly after, the pastor arrived in a van accompanied by his wife in another vehicle. Mahlangu said he was tied up, beaten, and taken to a secluded area in Cum Dry, where the gruesome act occurred. I didn't know what they were planning, he explained. They tied me up, placed my hands on a tree branch, and the pastor used a panga to chop off my hands while others held me down. Wow. A cry for help says after the attack, Malungu managed to stumble to the main road despite his severe injuries. I begged them to call an ambulance, but they refused. One of them said, "A man dies in battle," Malungu said. Help eventually came from nearby woodcutters who, though initially hesitant to approach him, contacted security officers from a nearby mine. The security team transported him to a clinic in Kwagupa where he received medical attention. Now, a troubled past and unjust accusations. Malunga admitted to having a troubled past, including drug use and theft to support his addiction. However, he vehemently denied stealing from the church. Yes, I have stolen before, but I've never taken anything from the church, he insisted. The local community policing forum, CPF, noted that drug addicts in the area often resorted to stealing steel and other materials to sell at scrap yards. Despite Mahalunga's reputation, many believe the pastor's actions were extreme and unjust. Now, the legal proceedings and community outrage. The pastor, Apostle Solomon Mhlanga, which those names are different, they're not spelled the same, and his back then it says 20-year-old son. And I got some discrepancies in the age because some said he was 58, some said he was another age and so forth. So don't quote me on the ages. But his son Enoch appeared in the Imalahinini Magistrate Court. Both faced charges of attempted and kidnapping. The incident has sparked outrage in the community, with many questioning the morality and legality of such vigilante justice. And it also states, as the case unfolds, Mahalungu's story serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of taking the law into one's own hands. Now, that was this story was written back in January of 2025. Here he is right here in this particular photo. Now, the story does state that he admits to being a thief and having stolen other things, but it also states that he's stating that he did not steal anything from the church. But let me go ahead and share something else with you guys, and then we'll get into some more conversations, because I pulled up plenty of things on here, and I want to pull all these up. Y'all know I like to clear all the tabs off before I get into having some conversations with you guys. So here's another article that I found online. Let me share this screen so y'all can see this. And this is from a Facebook post from a Facebook page called The Bulletin. Now, The Bulletin states this. Now, this is an update that was posted 20 hours ago today. Okay, this was posted today because the reason why the story is hot right now is because the pastor, his son, and the daughter-in-law have all now been sentenced. Okay. They've all been sentenced as of this week. So this one from The Bulletin says, crime update. Zimbabwean-born pastor and son have now been sentenced to life for the brutal attack that left victim without hands. And it goes on to explain what happened. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's basically saying the same thing that the other articles are saying. But it did say this. It says the Zimbabwe pastor, his son, and his daughter-in-law have been sentenced in the Imalulini Regional Court for the gruesome kidnapping and mutilation of 31-year-old church member. Now, they're saying this was a church member, Dumisani Mahlangu, who had both his hands hacked off in March of last year. Pastor Solomon Mhlanga and his son Enoch were today sentenced to life in prison for the attempted M. They were also handed an additional 3-year sentence for kidnapping. So they have life in prison plus 3 years. The third person who is accused is Poppy Mhlanga. She is the wife of the son, whose name is Enoch, the pastor's daughter-in-law, received 3 years of direct imprisonment for kidnapping after the court found that she played a key and active role in the crime, including suggesting that the victim be tied up to prevent him from escaping. My God, a woman said that? Woo! And then it also says, the sentence follows last week's conviction of the trio for the brutal attack which took place in Kalanikwal near Guapagupa. According to evidence presented in court, Mhlanga was accused of stealing scrap metal and electrical wires from Soteria Ministries International, where Solomon served as a pastor. So let me write his, because I was looking for his church, Soteria Ministries. Okay. And also it says that Mhlanga testified that he was seized, bundled into the back of the pastor's van, and driven to a secluded area where his hands were violently amputated. 3 other accomplices allegedly involved in the attack are still at large. So they said also the judge finds the victim creditable, rejects pastor's defense. Throughout the trial, the Mhlanga family denied the allegations. So the pastor's family is denying the allegations. It says their legal representative claimed they have supported Mr. Mahlangu through personal struggles and insisted they were being falsely accused. Solomon further argued that community anger over crime and rumors had targeted his family unjustly. So the pastor is saying that all of this stuff have been rumored to have targeted his family unjustly. But let me go on. It said, but the court dismissed their defense as fabricated. So the judge basically was stating, no, pastor, y'all's stuff that y'all saying is fabricated. And the court dismissed their defense. It said the judge found Mahlangu's version to be detailed, consistent, and backed by evidence, stating he answered all questions fairly and directly and have no reason to falsely implicate the accused. Now, let me pause right here, because this is stating that this pastor and the daughter-in-law and the son are stating, this is what this article is stating, that the court states that they came in and said that their defense was they did not do this, that they were actually the ones that helped him. And the court found that their information that they gave stating that they were basically innocent was not accurate. So the court found that their information that the pastor gave, that the pastor's son gave, that the pastor's daughter-in-law gave were false. Come on, churches. Come on, pastors. Come on now. Come on now. Again, we're not talking to all. We're talking to the ones that do wrong. All right, let's get back into it. Okay, so then it goes on to say, the complainant showed objectivity in his testimony, the judge said, comparing the evidence to accused as clear lying. Whoa. Y'all just basically lying. Oh my goodness. It says after the verdict, Mhlanga expressed both relief and deep emotional pain. The conviction brings a sense of justice, he said. He said, this thing is destroying me inside. I will never forgive him. So this is what the gentleman whose hands were amputated, this is what he's saying. He said, and I will die having not forgiven them. He described the life-changing impact of losing both hands, the burden placed on his family, and the shattering of his dreams as the only son his parents had hoped would uplift the family. The community shaken by violence, the outrage, the attack sparked outrage in Guagupa, with some residents reportedly threatening to burn the church in retaliation. Neighbors claimed this was not the first time violence had been meted out under the pastor's instruction. One individual recalled a previous incident in which a man accused of theft was assaulted, stripped, tied to a pole, and beaten for hours. Oh my God. Woo, they say justice delivered. With sentencing now complete, the Mhlanga family began serving their prison terms. Life sentences for Solomon and Enoch, and 3 years direct imprisonment for Poppy. For Mahlangu and his community, the judgment brings long awaited disclosure to one of the region's most disturbing criminal cases in recent years. And I think here's the thing, I think why it's so disturbing is because of who did these crimes. Who did these crimes? This was a man who was supposed to be a man of the cloth, who's supposed to be a pastor, who's ministering over there at the Soteria Ministries International Church. He's somebody that's supposed to be a leader and a person that people follow God after, and he's out here doing these heinous things. And I read another article that states that this pastor allegedly stated that he did this because he wanted to teach this individual, thou shalt not steal. My God, my God, my God, my God. But here's the other thing, you guys, which I saw in here are these comments. I wanted to bring some of these comments on the screen before I get to the next part of this story. These comments, some of these comments are like, I'm shocked, and I just want to know what y'all think. Let me just read a couple. This first one says, the government needs criminals so that it can keep going. You can see by the way the court favors them. Good job, pastors. He'll never steal anymore. The next person down here says, but they did justice. Instead of Cain, they removed the hands so that he must never steal to the community again. My God. And then somebody says, at least crime paid him and life turned burden. He must be example of his teammate, how stealing might affect your entire life. Pastor work is to save. He saved his community. I just was shocked when I saw some of this stuff. And I understand people in different ethnicities and different areas, their thought of all of this stuff is, hey, we want this type of crime to stop. We don't want this stuff to continue. And if it happened to them, it happened. But sometimes this type of stuff, it goes too far. It really goes too far. Like the gentleman stated, Mr. Mahlangu, the victim, like he stated, he said he begged to the pastor, his son, and the daughter-in-law, if you're going to chop my hands off, then chop one. Don't do both. But they took it upon themselves to do both. And it's just a miracle that this guy even survived. I mean, if these two gentlemen that found him that were in the woods area, if they had not found them, who knows what would have taken place with this guy. I mean, it's crazy that this stuff happens. Just absolutely insane. And at the hands of people that are saying they are religious leaders. Terrible. But there's more, you guys. There's more. Let me go ahead and bring this up on the screen. Let me go ahead and bring this up here so that I can share this with you guys. Let me take this down and go ahead and share this. Let me know y'all's thoughts. I'm telling y'all, I'm telling you, this type of stuff is, I understand you want to teach people a lesson. I understand you want to teach people don't steal. I understand all that. But my gosh, the severity of the lesson. Now, here's a story from the Daily Mail, which reports church pastor chops off thief's hand with a machete to teach him, thou shalt not steal. This article goes on to say a South African pastor who chopped off a suspect thief hand with a machete to teach him thou shalt not steal has been sentenced to life behind bars. I mean, my God. It says here, despite Mr. Mahlangu pleading his innocence and insisting that he was just taking a shortcut through the graveyard, Pastor Mhlanga tied him up with a rope. The thief was then put in a station wagon, and this article is calling him a thief. I'm calling him Mr. Mahlangu. Then put him in a station wagon and driven to woodland where his hands were held across a branch while the pastor unsheathed a machete. He told the sinner that he would teach him to never steal again, and with a single blow severed his victim's hands at the wrist. Wow. The Hamalini Regional Court in Mpumalanga, y'all, I'm sorry, South Africans, if I'm pronouncing these names wrong. I'm American, but I'm trying. Providence heard that the screaming victim begged, "Please leave me one hand." But the pastor replied, "Soldiers die in war." The machete came slicing down again and severed the screaming victim's second hand in cold blood. Take a look at this, y'all. Here's some photos. My God. Here they are, father and son. And here's the thing. I don't even know if they thought they were going to get caught for this, because if you tie somebody up, you sever their hands, you leave them bleeding, and you leave. The thought isn't that, they're going to survive. But other thing is, your thought isn't that they're going to take you to court for this act. And then when they take you to court, the pastor, his son, and the daughter-in-law are stating they didn't do this. They're stating they were the one that helped him. But again, like the court stated, why would this guy, the victim, why would he say you guys did this if you weren't the ones who really did it? Hey, Patty. Why would he say you guys did it? Why would he say a pastor who helped him? Why would he blame it on the pastor that he said helped him was the one? Why would he say that? Why would he accuse you if it wasn't fact that you did this? Oh, my God, Joe. My goodness. It said also the trio had pled not guilty to the charges. This article says on here, it says permanently crippled. Mahlangu told the shocked court, "My hands were on the ground flip-flopping as I realized that were my hands where I now had two bloody stumps." He says, "I realized that where my hands were, I now had two bloody stumps." He lifted up his mutilated arms and showed his stumps to the court. Magistrate J.J. Combrick sentenced the trio, said no mercy was shown when Mahlangu tried to get onto the station wagon. He was told to get off as he was bleeding on it. He was only saved after being left in the woods because woodcutters found him. You have altered his life. How do you get along without hands? How do you eat? How do you dress or close your buttons? How do you go to the bathroom without hands? I am going to send a clear message that vigilantism will not be tolerated, he said. This is the magistrate saying it. He sentenced Pastor Mhlanga and his son Enoch to life imprisonment for kidnapping and attempted him and his wife Poppy to 3 years in prison for kidnapping. Even though the trio had pled not guilty to the charges. Oh, my goodness. It said Pastor Mhlanga was head of the Soteria Ministry Church in Mahalini and were watched by many of his flocks as he and his son and his wife were led away to the cells. Can you imagine seeing your pastor going to the cells and your pastor's son and the daughter-in-law? It said Mahlangu told local media, when the attack happened in March last year, my hands were on the ground still wiggling. It was the worst pain I have ever experienced in my life. I lost so much blood, and to have 6 units in hospital to save me. I can still feel my hands and there, but when I was looking, there is nothing. I don't know what I am going to do for the rest of my life. It's now like this, no hands. Why do this to me? I can't wash or dress, or even though I was out of work, I had a chance to at least get work, but with no hands, who will give me a job? I am now dependent on others, he said. Mahlangu admitted to the Sowetan paper after being released from the hospital 2 weeks after the horrible attack that he was a thief, but he had not robbed the church that day. His father, Johannes, said, yes, my son is a thief, but he did not deserve to be disabled. How could a pastor do this to my child? Is he not supposed to preach peace? Now I have to brush his teeth, feed him, and wash him. Take him to the toilet, he said. Oh, my goodness. Woo, my goodness. My goodness. My goodness. Oh, my gosh. Some people are justifying it over there in South Africa. Some people are justifying it. And we do know there are a lot of news articles that states about a lot of crime that happens. Some people get very tired of this. And some people feel as though they have to take things into their own hands. No pun intended. But I think this is horrible. I think this is absolutely horrible. He was a pastor. All he had to do, I mean, if he wanted to give some sort of discipline, take him to the prison, take him to the jail, say, hey, I caught a thief in my yard. I mean, or stop doing work for him. Say, I'm not going to help you no more. I can't help you. You come to my house and you steal from me. I'm not going to help you. But to do that, that's a bit much. Now, not only is the pastor spending life in prison, you got your son and his wife have to spend life in prison also because of your temper, you're not wanting to control the situation. Now the family is in prison. The daughter-in-law, come on now, you got the daughter-in-law in prison also. Just horrible. Horrible. Oh, my goodness. Too much. Too much. Here's more photos of them in court. How could a woman say, tie him up to a tree and sever his hands? Yeah. Oh, my God. I just don't understand. Now, for those of you that's out there stealing, let this be a lesson. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Even the dad said, yeah, I know my son's a thief. Even his own dad said, I know he a thief. I know he a thief. But to know that a pastor did this to his son, that's a bit much. Oh, my goodness. All right, I got one more part of this story I'm going to share with y'all, and then we're done. Here we go. Here's another article that I found on here, gave a little more detail to this whole story. This was actually printed. Let me bring this on stage. Let's remove that one, bring this one up. This is from Pendula, and this was written November 24th. It says Zimbabwean pastor's son and wife found guilty of kidnapping church member and chopping off his hands. Here they are again right here. Here's a photo. And this also says that the pastor, Zimbabwean-born pastor, and his family have been found guilty after a kidnapping, attempted M. As reported, Solomon Mhlanga, his son, said they were convicted on November 21st. So the conviction went down November 21st. They did have a trial, and the conviction came November 21st. Today is November 25th. It also said the trio was arrested on March 27th of 2024. Okay, after allegedly abducting the victim, Dumisani, and amputating his hands. The motive for the attack has not been publicly disclosed, but in other articles it does state that they were stating that he allegedly stole some items. Okay, those are the other stories are reporting. During the proceedings on November 21st, 2025, the accused, through their legal representative, maintained their innocence. They claimed they were unaware of the offense, that had previously assisted the victim with his drug problems, and insisted they would never commit such a cruel act. They also said that they did not understand why Mhlanga was accusing them. The judge said that Mhlanga responded to all questions clearly and directly, providing detailed information. So the judge believed Mhlanga over the pastor. I mean, this is terrible, 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 terrible. Now, this story said that they were waiting for sentencing, but they've already been sentenced to life in prison. Oh my God, today, y'all. My God, today. Let me get y'all's comments. Let me see what y'all talking about in here. Oh my gosh, these stories, I'm telling y'all. Listen, pastors, be pastors. There's a way to discipline without going to the extreme. There's a way to do it without going to the extreme. Thank you, Robert. Ecclesiastes 8:11 states that that because punishment for wrongdoing is not carried out swiftly, people's heart are embonded to do evil. So they feel as though, thank you, Robert. People feel as though, well, the law is not taking care of stuff, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it into my own hand. I'm gonna take it into my own. I'm gonna do it myself. Now you're spending life in prison. Your son spending life in prison. Your lives are done. No more will you be in the public. You have all your church members left there. You have left your sheep. Robert said Micah 3 chapter is a harsh condemnation of corrupt leaders and prophets in Israel and Judah, accusing them of perverting justice, opposing the poor, and seeking personal gain and not seeking God. Yep. Yep. Oh my goodness. He said, Kadeem said they were out to delete him. What did he supposedly stole? They're accusing him of trying to steal some maybe some copper or some steel or some things from the church. Yep, it's a mess. Thank you, Brenda. I'm sorry, you and Robert having a nice conversation. Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot. Could he say the church ain't the law? If they believe he committed a crime, go to the law. Now they are the ones who did a crime for jail. Yeah. And went in front of the judge, and the judge said, I don't believe your story. I don't believe that you're innocent. The judge basically is letting them know, I don't believe you're innocent. They're trying to say, we're the ones that helped him. Why would we do this? But why would he accuse the pastor and his son if they weren't the ones that did it? What did you say? The ones who actually did it? So the pastor and the son and the daughter-in-law, the judge was like, I don't believe y'all. I believe y'all did it. And she stated, the judge, or she or he, the judge, I believe the victim. Yeah, well, South Africa, I don't know what, as far as what the legal things are much different than they are over here in the States. Yeah, a lot, you guys. This is horrible. Well, the young man now has to have his family to take care of him from here going forward. And I'm going to say this. Y'all. I think the pastor, the father, I think the pastor, thank you, Robert, for the verse. I think the pastor, of course, yeah, he's absolutely wrong. And not only that, the pastor wasn't even wise enough to teach his children to be better than he was. But the father of the victim knew his son was a thief. And yet he also was not able to get his son to stop. And I want to say this to fathers out there. Let me just talk to my people over here in America and, other countries as well. And all of us. If you know your child is doing something that's not right, I want you to really have a real heart to heart, because a lot of time y'all parents, y'all know what y'all children doing. Y'all know what your children doing, but you like, I talk to them, I can't get them to stop. They won't stop. You need to find a way to get them to stop, because this stuff like this, I have seen too many stories, even in the States, stories of people in the United States of America, children doing wrong, children getting caught in the act of thief, of stealing, and all this stuff, and losing their lives. They've lost their lives. And now you've got this father and this mother that got to lay their child to rest. But you knew what they were doing. You got to get your kids to know the harm that stealing and doing things that are wrong can cause. There's penalties to this. You can't keep getting away with doing wrong. I don't agree with what this pastor did. I don't agree at all. Don't take my statement, what I'm saying right here, to agree with what this pastor did. No, this pastor and his son and the daughter-in-law were absolutely wrong. Absolutely. But this father made a statement to a news article that he was aware of what his son was doing. He knew his son was a thief. Did he accept any of the things that the son did, that the son stole? Did he accept any of that stuff? Because one thing I'm going to tell you, if my children ever came in the house and tried to gift me something, my first question is, where'd you get it? I'm not going to contribute to their bad behavior. I'm not going to accept the gift. I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't even buy stuff from people on the street. Say, hey, I got this. You know, you want it? Hey, I give you a good deal on it. I don't even do that. I'm not contributing to it. I don't care how good the price is. I don't care that. I'm not going to contribute to your bad behavior. I'm not going to be the one that's a reason for you to go out and do it again because you got that easy sale. I'm not doing that. I'm not the one that goes out here and buys the purses from the people that pop open their trunk. I'm not that person. I'm not that individual. So those of you that are contributing to it, you say, well, I got a good price on it. It was a good price. I didn't steal it. They stole it. You contributing to that. You contributing to the bad behavior. You accepted it. You contributed to it. So y'all know what I do in these videos over here at the Juice Radio Talk Show. I'm not just here to tell you the story. I'm not just here to do commentary on the story. What's the message that we can learn from this? What's the motto? I'm not here for the mess. We're here for the message. And the message in this is we need to start talking to our children, and not only talking to our children, talking to our loved one that's doing wrong, but we also as a community, as individuals, need to stop participating in the mess. I don't care how cheap the bag is and how nice you like it, ladies, men. I don't care how nice the perfume is and you can get it at a good price from him. It's wrong. It is wrong. And you got to stop. There's a lot of church members that I've spoken to, I know, that have, hey, I got a good deal on this, but I wasn't the one who stole it. You're contributing to that young man or that young lady's bad behavior. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. If you want a nice handbag, gotta get you one. He'll make it a way that you can sleep at night. Okay? And you're not contributing to no thievery. All right? All right, you guys. Well, that's what's going on with that particular story. I got some other stuff I'll be bringing up on the platform here shortly. Yes, I'll be talking about the young lady, the young child who was rebuked at church. I'm getting ready to run that one. Click that notification bell so we can chit chat about that one as well. I got a lot to say about that situation. A lot to say about that. All right. All right, you guys. Thank y'all so very much for being here. We are praying for all involved. Listen, I pray that this young man can teach others. The young man, the victim, Mr. Mahlangu, I pray that he can teach others. We need to stop this type of behavior. Stop the thievery. Stop it. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth your life. At least he still has his life. But listen, he lost so much more as well. So it's not worth it. Have a conversation. And I pray that this video also teaches others, and this story teaches pastors out there, regardless of what country you're in, you can't take matters into your own hands like this. You can't do that. We cannot continue to do that. Find a better way. Find a better way. All right. Love y'all for watching. I'll see y'all on the next one. Click that thumbs up and that subscribe button today. All right. Because we're trying to reach over 50K. All right. Thank y'all so very much. Yeah, we about to talk about it. We about to talk about it, Stephanie. We are. All right, I'll see y'all on the very next one. Stay loving and kind out there, and I will see y'all later. Bye, guys.